Hey there everyone, Chris here with the Rocky Ultimate Knockout Collection in 4K, a franchise that needs no introduction starring the legend Sylvester Stallone, which contains all 6 Rocky movies. As you may know, in 2023, another Rocky set was released in 4K, but strangely did not include movies 5 and 6, but thankfully it does this time around, which also includes the new director's cut of Rocky 4 called Rocky vs. Drago, as well as a new director's cut of Rocky Balboa. Probably my second favorite movie after the first one. But anyway, let's mainly focus on movies 5 and 6 since they are the newest ones released in 4K, with the fifth one featuring boxer Tommy Morrison and Sylvester's real-life son, Sage Stallone. And I thought this looked okay in 4K, although I wasn't impressed. The movie was shot on 35mm film, and even though it does look like film, it's not very consistent, as I noticed some black crush. Take, for example, this image from the 60-minute mark. You could barely see his face. And it seems like some minor noise reduction was applied because the grain looks a bit reduced, which unfortunately causes some scenes to look a bit soft, but not to a point where they look waxy. Thank goodness for that. But when the transfer is good, fine detail on faces and clothing looks nicely detailed. Also, colors are a bit muted to suit the mood and feel, and I found black glows deep to the right degree, with flesh tones remaining lifelike. The audio features both the 5.1 and the original theatrical mix, and this was an okay track in 5.1. Not all that engaging, but it's really during the fight scenes when you'll appreciate this mix with the bass and music kicking in. Other than that, I didn't come across any issues here in the dialogue. So I'm rating both the picture and sound quality a 4 out of 5. Next up, Rocky Balboa, the film that knocked out the franchise on a high note since many were disappointed with the story of Rocky 5. But unfortunately, the same can't be said about the 4K release, except for the opening, which looks pretty good. But soon after, the transfer turns for the worse as DNR was applied to smooth out the image for some odd reason, wiping out the grain and detail, which honestly makes no sense since the whole point of 4K is to see the film in the best way possible. But yeah, unfortunately, that's where we're at with Rocky Balboa. But it's not the worst looking transfer. Grain is still present here and there, but honestly, I was already disappointed with the transfer by then to even care. Sort of like getting knocked out. Sure, you can get back up, but the damage is already done. Other than that, black glows are deep and certain scenes does show some decent detail on faces and surrounding objects, but yeah, the transfer for the main majority of the film is middle of the road for me. However, the audio is really good for 5.1, way better than Rocky 5. It's more engaging and deeper bass during the fight scenes. Although I'm not surprised by that, this is 16 years after the 5th movie. A lot has changed since then. It's mixed better. So my rating for the picture quality is a 3 out of 5 and a 4.5 for the sound. This film also includes a new director's cut, as I mentioned earlier, which clocks in at 1 hour 56 minutes, about 14 minutes longer than the theatrical version. You also get a bonus features disc on Blu-ray, which includes 8mm home movies of Rocky, as well as 3 rounds with Lou Duva, Steadicam Then and Now, The Ring of Truth plus Stallone Meets Rocky, as well as the making of Rocky vs. Drago, as Stallone hangs out on the cutting room floor as he discusses and takes a look at the newly added footage for the director's cut of Rocky 4, which includes 40 minutes of never-before-seen footage and just an overhaul of freshly added cuts, which makes the film a lot more engaging than ever before and gets rid of the annoying robot that was in the movie. But with that being said, the new cut looks a bit soft, but you gotta keep in mind they went back into the archives and pulled out old footage to put into the movie. So they had to soften things up a bit to match the rest of the film, but it's not all that bad. The grain isn't completely wiped out, just somewhat of a softer appearance when comparing it to the theatrical cut of Rocky 4. And Stallone himself hadn't seen the new footage that's in the movie in well over 35 years, but it's still a miracle what they were able to pull off with the director's cut, definitely. The rest of the films in this set with Rocky 1 through 3 look good. Not perfect, of course, but good enough to make the upgrade to 4K. Personally, I like the look of Rocky 2 the best, with Rocky 3 a close second after that. Sharpness is more consistent when comparing it to the other films, but as a whole, I rate the picture quality of the first 3 movies a 4 out of 5, and the director's cut of Rocky 4 a 3.5 out of 5. So there you go, folks, the Rocky Ultimate Knockout Collection in 4K. I was hoping the transfers would have been flawless, but as I said, it's good enough to warrant a purchase for this iconic franchise. I say pick it up when it goes on sale. See you in the next one.